Hey everyone, welcome to the latest installment of MSP Business School. I'm your host, Brian Doyle, and I'm really excited about today's meeting. This is something that's been a question, a topic that's been on my mind, and certainly I think on the minds of a lot of our listeners as well. So I'm pleased to introduce with me today Nick Wolf and Nick Chory from Cork. Nick Wolf is the Director of Partner Acquisition, and Nick Chory is Director of Product Management. And they're going to tell you everything you ever wanted to know about Cork today and how their product works to protect you from cybersecurity threats. So welcome, gentlemen. I really appreciate both of you joining me today.
Thanks for having us on.
It's great to be here, Brian. Thank you.
Awesome. So Nick Wolf, and you guys, you're going to hear me say a lot of last names today to keep track. But Nick Wolf, I'd like you to kick off and maybe tell people a little bit about your background and where you come from and how you ended up over at Cork.
Yeah, sure thing. So I've been working with MSPs for over 12 years now. I started off in the channel as one of the very first employees of Datto, which is a very popular backup and disaster recovery vendor back in 2011. Got to work closely with channel legends like Rob Ray as we launched that product into the industry. After spending about 10 years at Datto, I went on to help found a company called Scout Cybersecurity. They were an XDR cybersecurity vendor that was later purchased by Barracuda Networks. From there, I spent some time last year helping out another startup vendor, Evo Security. They were an identity and access management vendor for MSPs, and I'm super excited to be over here at Cork now and selling cyber warranties to MSPs.
And that is a topic we're definitely going to dive deeper into. But I want to make sure Nick Chory now gets an opportunity to let us know his backstory.
Absolutely. So I have a pretty interesting path to get here. I've now spent about 7 years between businesses focused on cyber risk as well as the MSP space. And so joining Cork was a really interesting blend of the two. Back in 2017, I joined a company called BitSight, which is one of the pioneers in enterprise cyber risk management and really focused on trying to measure the security performance of businesses without being terribly intrusive. And it was a really rewarding and pretty profound experience professionally. And then after BitSight, I had a number of colleagues that had went and gone to work at Datto in leadership positions. And I thought I was joining, perhaps a little sleepy backup company, but found out that it was this incredible culture and environment and MSP community underneath that, and really spent the next 3.5 years there through the acquisition by Kaseya, helping to build the direct-to-cloud backup product line there. And growing that, and also learning and getting very deeply invested in a lot of the challenges MSPs were experiencing. And so when I heard that Cork was emerging, I couldn't help but jump at the opportunity, because I could see that the convergence of cyber risk and monitoring and MSPs was a really interesting place to be, and a really excellent opportunity to help build value in the channel going forward.
So you've heard a little bit of a common thread there with the Datto story weaved into both of your backgrounds. I think it's fair to say, for those that don't know, Austin McCord, the founder of Datto, is one of the partners or founders here within Cork, correct?
That is correct.
So, Austin built an incredible culture. I'm akin to it only because I'm a Connecticut boy, and for a long time, Datto was our crown jewel here in this state. And Austin's story was amazing, really working from the garage, truly from the garage, right? And building what he did over at Datto. And now it's exciting to see what he's doing over at Cork. So, and excited for you guys, right? Because obviously a lot of what Austin does usually has some success with it as well. So with that being said, let's kind of dive into a few topics that I know I have questions on personally. Cork, cyber warranties. How does that differ from cyber insurance? And what, and what does that really mean to me? Because I think that's a little cloud of confusion for some.
Yeah, absolutely. I could tackle that. So in the auto industry, there's car insurance and there's also car warranties. Both are different, but both are important. Car insurance is if you're driving in your car and something unexpected happens, you hit something and boom, you're now in an accident and you need someone to pay it off to help you recover from it. Whereas a cyber warranty is when you're driving in your car and something happens where there's something wrong with one of the parts or components. When I think of a car warranty, I think of the check engine light appearing on your vehicle saying, hey, something's going wrong with one of these parts or components. Bring it into the shop. The shop could fix it free of charge. That way it reduces the likelihood of an accident ever occurring in the first place, where you would need to activate that car insurance policy. And that's exactly what we're looking to do here at Cork, but in the cyber landscape. Because in the cyber landscape, you have cyber insurance, which is super, super important. And what we're doing here at Cork is we're offering a cyber warranty. In a lot of ways, we're acting as a car's check engine light, but for a small business that's being managed through a managed service provider. So if we determine if there's anything wrong with some of the parts or components running in that business, we're able to proactively alert that small business to fix it. For example, if someone is uninstalling EDR tools or disabling MFA users, things of that nature, those are all risks and warning signs that we could say, hey, you're about to enter into a lapse of coverage with both your warranty and most likely your insurance provider, because this is going to open up a lot of risk on your network. So again, make sure that you turn on your EDR again, turn on your MFA again, and we can pinpoint which devices, which users are ultimately out of compliance. So in addition to the monitoring platform or this check engine light that we end up giving the customers, we end up backing that platform by a warranty that is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of coverage that in a lot of ways could supplement a client's existing cyber insurance policy.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, we're really almost talking a left a boom, right a boom conversation, right? The warranty is really coming in to protect you along the way and help you fund some of those changes potentially that might need to occur in order to bring you up to speed and reduce the risk for that right a boom event, which obviously at that point you'd be calling in your insurance company.
Exactly. And one of the reasons why our warranty is able to complement insurance very nicely, and the reason why we recommend insurance to our clients, is that with our warranty, we could actually pay off the cyber insurance deductible. So our warranty, for example, it only goes up to a couple $100,000 worth of coverage, whereas with insurance, you could get coverage in the millions and millions of dollars. You know, it's basically unlimited. Downside with insurance, though, is that the higher the coverage for insurance, most likely the higher the deductible is going to be. A deductible could be $10,000, it could be $50,000. But if you pair your insurance plan with a warranty, in most cases, or at least in the case of Cork, we would be the ones writing off that check to the insurance provider for that $10,000 deductible, $50,000 deductible, et cetera. That way the client doesn't have any large out-of-pocket expenses.
So Nick, well, if I see the wolf behind you there, is the wolf supposed to be your version of the duck quacking? If we talk about that other gap insurance company that supplements, that's
yeah, right. Yeah, I hear that.
But no, good stuff. So, I think that, that's a great, I appreciate that because I've been fuzzy on this from day one, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners are too. And I think that you explained that really well in terms of left a boom, right a boom, and then supplemental, right? And those are some critical path needs for MSPs. I want you to think out there, listener, what would happen if you had a cyber event and you had to write a check for $50K tomorrow? Could your MSP withstand that? Would that disrupt operations? Would that potentially make payroll a challenge? Those are things that we need to consider in this process as well. So look into yourself and say, can I swallow that? Because I know a lot of companies that I've spoken to will take the highest deductible because they, I don't think this will happen. So I'm going to reduce my cost and take the bigger risk. Awesome. Great. So, I guess then the question would be, which is better? And it sounds like a combination is really the answer, but which would be better for a company and a warranty and insurance?
That's a great question. When you're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, what is better? Is it the side with the peanut butter or is it the side with the jelly? Some people are going to say peanut butter, some are going to say jelly, but the best combination is smacking them both together and eating them together. I would say the advantage of insurance is the fact that you could get coverage in the millions and millions of dollars. So really, really protecting, your business as it grow in the millions of dollars of the space. The advantage of a warranty is that although it might only go up to $500,000 worth of coverage, the advantage of a warranty is that you're able to get qualified in a matter of minutes without having to fill out any sort of lengthy security questionnaire. So coverage starts in minutes. It's a lot easier to apply. And most importantly, typically with warranties, they're going to be paying you out in real time in a matter of days. Whereas typically with insurance, you might have to wait several weeks or several months to actually get a payout from your insurance provider, which means during that time, you as a small business are laying out all that money. Whereas with a warranty, it's typically the warranty provider that's giving you cash now.
Interesting. So, when you think about it in those terms, it really means that, you've got the opportunity to kind of fill those gaps and bring the best of both worlds put together. I really hadn't thought about the front end personally myself as much, in that monitoring. So, in terms of like application, you hit me with that or stated that it's a really easy application process for warranty. What does that look like for an end user?
Yeah, Nick, Corey, do you want to actually take that? What that process looks like?
Sure, it's pretty straightforward. What we do is we start with the technology stack that the MSP is using to manage their clients, and that technology stack happens to usually be a set of multi-tenant software tools that those tenants are defining those client identities. So what we do with the Cork platform is we allow the MSP to directly plug those tools into Cork. We define the list of clients and identify them there, and then we are able to then build a profile to understand which security controls are deployed in the client environment, to which endpoints and to which users. And once we're able to build that profile, that is then what allows us to then say, okay, this client is going to be continuously monitored by Cork and our continuous monitoring platform to look for gaps that could lead to cyber losses. And it also then allows us to say, yes, you're now meeting a minimum standard that allows this client to become eligible for warranty coverage because we know and can prove with the telemetry that these controls are deployed. And that's a pretty significant difference right now, as Nick mentioned earlier, from a paper questionnaire where you're really checking a box and there's no direct link between the presence of the technology and the checkbox that's on the form. This is directly bringing those two things together so that the financial coverage is tied in with what the MSP is already doing for their clients.
So I got to assume then, think about it this way. One of the biggest concerns out in the marketplace today is potential fraud, even inadvertent fraud, right? When it comes to filling out your insurance questionnaire. Obviously insurance companies are built to not pay claims, or they don't want to pay claims or pay as little as possible, right? So they're always looking for errors on those forms. And obviously those forms, especially for a traditional business person, are well above their pay grade and things that they can't answer. So, what I'm hearing here is by really connecting their tools and doing a scan, you're able to identify where those risk points are and really even hopefully prepare them, I guess, a little bit better for answering those insurance questionnaires that might go in partnership with this. Is that a fair statement on my part?
Yeah, I would say that it is. As a matter of fact, we're taking it one step further where not only are we tying into those security tools that the MSP is selling, but if the clients don't meet a certain cybersecurity posture threshold, they're not even going to be able to buy the warranty.
Right.
Yeah, the button in the MSP's dashboard won't even be present because the last thing we want to do is sell something that's essentially useless. Whereas in theory with insurance, as long as you're saying yes to all the check boxes, you're going to qualify for insurance, even though it might not ever pay out because you filled out all those questions wrong.
As a guy that does some work on the governance and compliance side of things, right, we're always trying to find the evidence that proves out the control, right? So it sounds like, by hooking into your system, you're at least letting people know if they don't qualify, there's a good chance they'll understand the whys behind it and then can take some action, which certainly saves time, right? And that's a big challenge also when you're trying to get ready in your security program.
Yeah, and we've found that, many MSPs have plugged everything into Cork and said, oh, this is great because now I have some evidence that I can go take to my client who I've been trying to get security awareness training or a better email sandboxing tool or, getting EDR in place to upgrade that. And now I can go to them and credibly say, you can't get this financial coverage that I could offer you because you've been reluctant to invest in this. So there's a little bit of a carrot, a little bit of a stick, depending on how you want to then take that telemetry. And we're just an objective third party. We're not going to change our standards for somebody because of the decisions they made to deploy. So I think that makes for a really powerful dynamic in the ecosystem where, they can blame us if somebody can't get coverage instead of having to, be the first party to deliver that news. So we've sort of seen a lot of conversations emerge like that, which helps to strengthen the MSP selling posture.
Well, it also helps, I think, with some of the selling conversations that the MSPs are struggling with as well. A lot of times they're selling cybersecurity on fear, uncertainty, and doubt and trying to make a point that the SMB is even at risk now. But we really need to change that conversation to your risk, meaning the customers, right? And where your gaps are and how you're vulnerable. And we've certainly seen, within the world of VCIO Toolbox, some people leveraging some processes. We have to change that conversation and coming back to me and saying our cyber sales accelerated by 30% just because we finally talked about it in terms of their risk. And you guys are actually providing the evidence to allow them to go, here's the risk and here's where it lives. So, really isolating on the pain point and helping them get to that go, hopefully. So good stuff. Nick, Corey, this is probably pushed a little bit to you, right? I think some people are probably trying to figure out, how do I get involved in this? Insurance is regulated. Mm-hmm. You need a license to sell that. But a warranty, it seems like it's pretty fair game for anybody to sell, right? So what is, why is that? And how come you guys are able to provide something that, obviously feels like insurance in some respects, but do it in a way that, it sounds like MSPs can capitalize on?
Yeah, I'll drop back to the car analogy, in that, you go to a car dealer and your car salesperson's selling you a car that has a warranty attached to it. It's about as straightforward as that. Insurance is a product design that is not attached to a specific product or service that is sold. So it's a coverage policy that's designed for risks that are could come out of anywhere, if you think of it that way. And the regulatory structure in the U.S. and most other markets around the world is such that you need a broker's license to be able to sell that policy and represent it. We are warranting the performance of our continuous monitoring product that MSPs are connecting into and deploying into their client environment. And because the warranty we're offering financial protection due to or as a result of the performance of that product, that's where the warranty really sits very nicely and offers a great solution for MSPs to be able to sell it, similar to the way a car dealer might attach a warranty to the car that they're selling to one of their customers.
Awesome. So, what's in the future for Cork? So, obviously you guys are still pretty early stage at this point. What are some of the things that you're looking to accomplish as a company? It sounds like adding potentially insurance into the portfolio might be something you're looking at doing, but, what's the long-term roadmap and how are you finding the market, kind of educating them to a warranty standpoint? And that might be pointed more to you, Nick Wolf.
Yeah, so we were founded as a channel-only company, and let me make that perfectly clear that that's never going to change, right? We're working with MSPs all day, every day, and ultimately we rely on those MSPs because it's the MSPs that's managing the cybersecurity tech stack of the end user's environment. That's why we're able to provide this warranty, is because we're ultimately monitoring the telemetry of the RMM tool that's running in the environment, the EDR tool, the backup set, the multi-factor authentication tools, etc. So we were founded as a channel-only company. That's never going to change. And ultimately, what we're looking to do here in the future is integrate with as many cybersecurity tool sets as possible in the MSP's tech stack to ultimately gain more visibility.
And so for those, right now, yeah, I was going to say, for those that are watching YouTube, we just brought up some of those names here as well, but continue on, Nick. I apologize.
Yeah, for us, when it comes to integrating with the MSP's tech stack, we want to be as vendor agnostic as possible. So whether you're a Datto shop or a Kaseya shop or, using Ninja RMM or Duo for MFA or Veeam for backup, we really want to integrate with all kids in the sandbox. That way we're getting all that telemetry for the MSP. And, these are the APIs for those that are watching that we integrate with right now. And, we're adding more on a constant basis. I think we added a little over 6 just last quarter alone. And we only see this, expanding our approach. From a minimum viability standpoint, in order to qualify for a warranty with Cork, though, we need to observe RMM on the endpoints, EDR on the endpoints, and MFA for the cloud users. So that's sort of like the bare minimum. But again, we still want to be able to get visibility into security awareness training tools, email security tools, things of that nature.
Awesome. So guys, we're getting near the end of our time today. I don't know, if any of you have any closing thoughts before we talk about where we can find you. So Nick, Corey, I'm going to start with you. I don't know if you've got any closing thoughts, anything we haven't covered today that you think might be important for an end user to know about.
It's been a great discussion, Brian. Thank you so much. I think one thing I would just reflect on in the journey that we've been on the last year here at Cork is there's something that's structurally broken in the market, and that the insurance industry has largely focused on the end client, which doesn't really have direct responsibility for their own security posture. They're not managing it actively, and the MSP has sort of been left out of the equation. And we've been really excited and energized by bringing them into the conversation in a way that's very aligned, and sometimes that can be antagonistic. And the response we've gotten has been pretty overwhelming. It's wonderful to just talk to a new MSP every day and hear how it kind of lights up, and they're finally able to have an answer to the problem that they've been sort of seeing but can't really grasp the solution for. Because they know that they're not going to go and necessarily run and get a broker's license, but they still want to be able to offer that peace of mind to their client that extends beyond just the technology stack. So that's, I think, for anyone listening, a way that you might be able to sort of enter and approach Cork with that mindset of, we're really aligned with your interests. We're really aligned with the interests of insurers. We're really aligned with the interests of small businesses. And we're super excited to continue serving and growing with you in the coming months and years.
Awesome. Any closing thoughts from you, Nick Wolf?
Yeah, I'll just add on to Nick Chory and say we're also aligned with the idea of MSPs making money here, right? Because typically with cyber insurance, that's going to be done through the insurance agent, the broker, dealing directly with the end user. So now MSPs are sort of in an awkward spot where they want to do right by their clients, help them fill out those cyber insurance forms to some extent. But during that process, they're not really making any money along the way. Whereas with a cyber warranty, this is designed for MSPs to actually resell to their end users and make a monthly recurring profit on it, while also still giving their users financial protection, during that left of boom, as well as potentially that right of boom. So this is a product that it's really designed for MSPs to resell either as a standalone product or built into the cybersecurity tech stack that they sell their clients.
Terrific, guys. I really appreciate the insight on this. I think you've cleared up a lot of the listeners' confusion potentially about where, a cyber warranty compares against cyber insurance. I know that was certainly a question I had. I think some of the places you're going to be in the future, you guys are at most of the ASCII events, correct? So if MSPs want to come see you.
ASCII is a great community for us, so we're going to be at plenty of those events for sure. And I'm sure there's more events we'll be going to later on in the year, but at least at the ASCII events, we'll be there for sure.
And Nick, being the director of partner acquisition, I got to say, how can they get in touch with you? Because I'm assuming that's where those requests should be directed to.
Yeah, if you're an MSP listening to this and you want to become a partner or buy a Cork warranty for one of your clients, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can visit us on our website. We're corkinc.com. That's CORKINC.com. And we'll be able to answer your questions and get you all set up.
And Nick, if folks wanted to get in touch with you and understand a little bit more about the platform, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the same. Go to corkinc.com/partner. We'll be happy to have a conversation. My personal email, there's two Nicks, but you can always email Nick at corkinc.com. You'll get me. And I think Nick W is the other one for him. So that's my personal outreach there.
Awesome. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on today. Really exciting stuff that you've got going on at Cork. Definitely a different approach to solving a problem that every MSP is facing. So I really appreciate you giving us that insight. For you listeners, you can get this podcast anywhere you download your podcast from. And of course, it's up on YouTube as well. So, feel free to smash that button and subscribe there. But in the meantime, I want to thank both of you again for joining us today and wish you the best. Have a great day.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for having us on.